Do I have gameplay here now? Growlithe and the others will be safe with Rachel. Gotta focus on saving Pikachu. I doubt they'll do that with Tim, but I'm coming, Pikachu. Oh, will the fight keep on playing out back there? Oh, it will. Let's see how wide of a shot I can get on this. Can't just leave Dad here. Gotta get him out of that pod. Hold on. Where are they? Do they not continue fighting? Was it just that one? Oh, there they are. Whoa. Yeah, and what the heck? Deoxys is just in the one form, and even with hands, not even with the tentacles. I had the tentacles immediately, then, you know, immediately switched to hands, and then hasn't switched at all. Not doing anything interesting with form changes. Like, imagine if this was the anime here, how hard they would go with this. See why you're not happy with this game? Yeah. Can I, like, stab him? It's Murloc's body. Looks like he's just sleeping. But he's actually fused with a Pokemon, just like Dad. Is he actually properly fused, or is he, like, you just take that off and then he'll lose the connection? Because isn't that how it worked in the movie? I don't remember. Alright, Pikachu. But yeah. Yeah, that's what you would think. Like, Mewtwo has experience as, you know, the world's most powerful Pokemon and stuff like that. Like, he's been all his life, and, you know, the whole Mewtwo story of going up against Team Rocket after they made him and stuff like that, assuming like all Mewtwo's in the various different stories share at least that backstory there. But you know, this random guy just became a Deoxys and he's like, aha, I know exactly what to do. Maybe it's implied that Deoxys is more powerful than Mewtwo then, and so even at a much lower power level, he's evenly matched. I don't know. Pikachu's inside the pod, but I can't get it open. Can you hear me, Pikachu? Hear you. You don't have to shout. What? He's not switched to Harry? I'm so glad you're okay. More or less. This thing won't open up. Get me out of here. Won't open from this side either. Must be locked. They're just playing that same animation over and over again on the right side. There's like no variation. We can turn off the Dougie cam and we can get a clear view of it. But it just keeps looping that one. Like, I figured there'd be some kind of looping animation, but okay, it's happening less frequent now that I want to pay attention to it. There it is. Bam! Wow. Bam, must be locked. You don't see a passcode terminal around here by any chance, do you? There's no way it's that other passcode we saw on that whiteboard earlier, is it? I'll take a look. It was jotted down in, like, case notes or something, right? Yo. For a passcode terminal. Perfectly sure the pod will open if I input the passcode here. We saw 2 numbers written out in Murloc's lab. Yeah, that one, and then 170608. One of those ought to open this. 170608. Wow.
Pikachu.
I don't know why he'd have the passcode to opening the right pod on his machine. Just on the board in his lab, but okay.
Me and Pikachu are okay.
What do I know?
What a relief. I gotta say, looks like the party's in full swing. Believe it or not, it's Murloc. Yeah, I know. Looks like he's become a Pokemon. We have to stop him somehow. I can't imagine Mewtwo losing. But we humans caused this mess. We're the ones who've got to clean it up. Yeah. What about your body? I look safe enough in there. Anyway, let's hurry. You okay? Yeah.
He's feeling not okay because his energy's drained or something or other here? Feeling kind of wobbly. Must be all that energy he drained out of me. Oh no. What about the original Pikachu's consciousness? Don't look so down. Everything will be fine once we take care of things here. Besides, we've got Mewtwo right over there. Yeah. So all we gotta do is stop Murloc. Music's pretty cool. But how? Our guess is as good as mine. All I know is we've got to do whatever we can. I will say that this is a more epic ending than that of the first game. Right. Great detective tip number 48. Never, ever give up. That's a spirit, Tim. First, let's stop this machine. Okay. The music's pretty good. Murloc used this machine to fuse himself with Deoxys. We can stop the energy Murloc extracted from being supplied to the machine. Wait, if we can stop the energy Murloc extracted from being supplied to the machine, we might be able to reverse the fusion. I'm not gonna question it. You would think that you would need Deoxys in the machine here again, but yeah, I'm not gonna question it. But yeah, okay, so how do we do that? But yeah, I mean, if you're enjoying the music as a standalone thing and maybe not in the context that it plays, then it's a lot better. Yeah, and this is reusing like the leitmotif of the main theme, but it's like a epic finale kind of version. I do approve of that at least. Okay, so how do we do that? What are you asking me for? I've got no clue how to stop this thing. But in this situation, I think the simplest thing to do is cut the power. Oh yeah, wasn't there a note that literally said unplug it or something? Wait, is that what we're gonna use here? Is literally unplug it? Come on, Tim. Wait. Oh, I can't interact with this. There it is, Dad's body. Murloc used it just now to extract the energy he needed. Hold on, Dad. When all this is over, I'll save you. I swear. Wait, can I just unplug it? Murloc used this machine to fuse himself with Deoxys. We can stop the energy Murloc extracted from being supplied to the machine. We might be able to reverse the fusion. Yeah, I might pull it. Okay, so how do we do that? Come on! The cord's here! The note said to unplug it! Can I unplug this? It's Murloc's body. Looks like he's just sleeping. But he's actually been fused with the Pokemon, just like Dad. Okay, I don't... It's supposed to be the power supply for the fusion machine. Can we stop this thing? Yeah, maybe I could have just unplugged it. Sorry, Tim. This is way beyond me. I thought you knew a lot about electricity. Electricity is one thing. How would I know anything about a specialized piece of equipment like this? Just fiddle around with it and see what works. Not like we can do anything else. Yeah, probably the red lever here. You'll learn something useful if you start pressing random buttons. As long as it doesn't explode or something if I press the wrong one. I'm pretty sure that won't happen. Doesn't make sense to rig a machine this important with explosives. There's no time. I'm just gonna go for it. While you're pushing buttons, Tim, try to deduce how to cut off power to the machine. Yeah. Just cut off power. Pull the thing. Didn't cut off the power. Well, you didn't move it. Maybe that would explain it. Only specific order you gotta do this in. They didn't even put in an animation for pulling it down to see that it didn't work. Like, they could have literally just had an animation for pull down, and then it resets back up, and it's like, that didn't do anything. But that just showed literally nothing even being attempted. I don't know. Oh, well, on the successful one, it goes down. Oh, well. Nope, it's still not working. See, like I just described, have an animation of it going down and then go back up again. What's most important is tackling this in the right order before you pull the lever. I don't know. Blue 1, blue 2, blue 3, blue 4? I don't know. Like I could have unplugged after Murloc pieced out Olivia right next to the machine, capable of stopping him with no resistance. Yeah, after he flew out the ceiling there. What a weird lever pull sound effect. I've heard that sound effect in other video games, usually for breaking something open. But, alright, all the switches are off. Yeah, I sank his battleship. Looks like that shut down the power supply. Good job, Tim. I'm not so sure. Getting the power doesn't seem to be reversing the fusion at all. Darn. Back to the drawing board. You hate this game. Don't say much about games you haven't played. We hate this game with every fiber of your being. That would be a little bit far for me, but this isn't great. We gotta fiddle with the fusion machine itself. Not like we've got any better ideas. Come on, Pikachu to the fusion machine. Okay, go unplug it. Wait, can I interact with anyone over here? Oh. Okay. Can I unplug it now? No, it doesn't look alike. This is the fusion machine. Looks even more complicated than the power supply. Yeah, but we still gotta stop it. I think those glowing bits are the energy Murloc used for the fusion. But let's face it, at least this movie, at least this game in several instances in its story was the kind of thing where it's like, it's so bad, it's good. This game created a lot of laughs. You know, I will say before the end here, I did get a lot of laughs playing this game, you know, and I got enjoyment that way. Maybe not in the way the devs intended, but I actually did have a lot of fun playing this game in unintended ways. at times. I had to put up with like so much filler to get to those points that I was having fun, but you know. I think it's glowing bits of the energy Murloc used for the fusion. Maybe if we remove those little capsules. But how do we remove those capsules from the machine? Oh, we saw something in Murloc's lab about emergency procedures. Yeah, unplug it. It's so bad it's good until the mayor thing happens. But that isn't that another instance of it's so bad it's good? I miss when Rayman was in this game. Yeah, don't we all? Oh man. Yeah, this is the worst possible time to forget. I remember it was unplug it. I know it's not the approach a detective should take, but I think trial and error is our only option here. Let's see what I can do. Oh, do I get to press things? The time for talking is over. It's time to push buttons. What do you bet? This is all just fluff to throw off the player. And the answer is literally just unplug it. Think we could pull that cable out? Pull it. There, I remembered. Done. Yeah, we disconnected it. Machine's still running. Gotta be an order to doing this. Try poking around some. Oh, I was hoping these would be like meaningless fluff. Oh, happens if I push this button. Now you're thinking with portals. Nice guess. I think that just released the lock. The lock? What lock? What was locked? How about this button? I think you got it right. Looks like that released. What is locked? Like the lock on the reverse function? Oh, I'll drink that potion. All right, I got it. Way to go, Tim. Oh, the lock's on these things, I guess. Yeah, pretty much. And then the energy capsule. Yes, I got it off the machine. Well done, Tim.
Okay.
Managed to remove both energy capsules from the machine. That sure was a puzzle. Let's see if it did anything to Murloc. Cutscene.
Didn't work. Nothing's changing.
Maybe I need to unplug his chair.
Moving the excess energy didn't do anything because they're already fused together. Think, Tim. There has to be another way. Wait a minute. Murloc wrote about the energy in that
Put Murloc into Harry's body.
That's right. What exactly did Murloc use that energy for again?
Tell Mewtwo to shove him in the other chamber. What Murloc used the energy for? On the gigantic machine. The energy could sleep safely for a long time like Harry. Fuse himself with Deoxys to awaken Deoxys. Oh yeah, wasn't it waking up rather than the fusing? Oh, come on!
No, that's...
He said that he... Why did he wake up Deoxys before then?
Another way to use the energy.
Come on! If he could have woken up Deoxys before, he would have done it. And even if he couldn't fuse it, just attach cubes to him and then he has like an incredibly powerful weapon. Why wouldn't he have done that? Like, that's what would have made sense there. And the whole thingamabob with Harry and Pikachu there was just like, aha! With their energy from Mewtwo, I can finally wake up Deoxys. And then it was like a separate thing that I used to fuse them there. So, I didn't realize that he needed that for the fusion as well because he didn't exactly establish that.
Use that energy to fuse himself with Deoxys. Maybe that's the key to separating them.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you going on about?
Murloc and Deoxys are fused together because of that energy. According to the report, the balance of that energy is crucial.
Oh, so we just gotta disrupt that balance.
So,
Yeah, but
go stab him in the
do
dick.
that.
Friggin', yeah, maybe that. I don't know. Well, this didn't I mean, that's a good idea, but not to throw off its energy balance because it didn't really seem to do anything to Pikachu to throw off the balance in their fusion there. Was Deoxys to more energy? Yeah, maybe. But this is just straight up a good idea just for like, hey, you're under our control now. I mean, there was a lot of cubes that were attached to Mewtwo earlier in the plot, and, you know, he was clearly struggling, but was able to shake them off. So I guess it wouldn't be easy to get them on there. I don't know. Probably not there. Here, exposed to more energy.
If we can somehow expose Deoxys to these two energies...
What are these two energies?
Energy will throw off
The energies of
balance.
Harry and Pikachu?
But how do we do that?
Once we figure that out, we can get back at him for throwing me into that pod.
Deoxys
Bolt of
running
Brilliance?
around, the busted fusion machine. And then there's me, the great detective Pikachu. What are you thinking, Pikachu?
Aha! I think I've got it!
A bolt of brilliance!
I'll jump up from the top of this machine and hit Deoxys with the energy.
What? How does that work?
Oh, how very
What?
thoughtful. Time to close this case.
I really hope there's quick time events. Why are we going to the elevator? Oh, are we gonna go up and he's gonna jump?
If we take the elevator, I should be able to get over there. Okay, hand him over, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna put them in the hat. I think they're so tiny.
There.
Looks like we're ready to go. So, hit it.
So, the others on the elevator here are really just here to take cover. An elevator is probably not the safest place to take cover here. They really should have just come back from the direction that came from. Taking that elevator out of here.
You're sure you can do this?
You mean hit Deoxys in midair with 2 capsules of energy? You can't do that. Only I can do this.
Yeah, I know. It's just, isn't there another way?
Come on. Who do you think I am, Tim? In all my cases, I've never given up. I'm the great detective, Harry Goodman. We've gathered all the evidence we need. Now all we gotta do is use it to pin down the culprit.
Please be careful.
Just leave this to me.
Does the elevator actually go anywhere, or is it just for this? There isn't gonna be a Deoxys form changes there.
Wait, what are they doing? If they unleash those moves, this place will explode!
Rise of Darkrai intensifies.
Oh, Pikachu.
Surprised he said Pikachu there and not Dad. It's gonna be quick time events, right? I really hope there's something that I can fail for funsies. Hit Deoxys with the energy! Not how I thought this game was gonna end.
Okay, let's get this done.
Good thing they're charging up for like ever.
Just need our body to hold out for me.
So if I don't mash this, will I just spin forever? You can hear where it starts to loop. I can't. I can't mash the button. I can't bring myself to. Beep 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 beep. I can't with this game. I mean, I imagine the recording session was just like, he did one beep 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 beep, and then they took that and then they just loop it over and over here. You know? Like, I think it's just one. I can't with this game. I'm pushing the clip there. Well, I guess I'll hit the button. Oh, I gotta really press the button. Whoa. Oh, I could just have him... The electricity here. Okay. Whoa! He is going around the whole thing. Oh, it's both their voices. I love the voice actor so much, but it sounds weird hearing him yelling Pika Pika. This is literally Rise of Darkrai. Did he just jam the energy, like, right in the middle there? Not right into Deoxys?
Oh, it's such an insignificant.
Oh, I guess Deoxys is back to a rock.
Pikachu!
Oh no, Midgar's getting blown up.
I can't. I've used up all my strength. I can't make it. You need to go on without me.
But, Dad...
Get them to safety. Don't wait up for me.
Hang in there. We're almost out of here.
The lighting takes me out of the moment there. No shadows or effects on anyone there. And this is definitely a fake out. The elevator does go. Mewtwo's gotta come and save him. Like, where's Mewtwo during all this?
Irene and Sophia, they need you. Tim, you've grown into a fine young man. And one heck of a great detective.
I think we're just living in a world full of idiots here.
Dad, no!
Why doesn't Mewtwo just go grab him? I'm sure it'll be revealed that he did or something, but...
I couldn't save him. Dad, or Pikachu.
Tim. What?
Did you just pull an Indiana Jones 4 to get out of there?
The pod?
Did you just pull, like, the fridge nuke strat? I can't believe this. So it wasn't even Mewtwo that saved them.
Dad!
Tim, hey.
Why did Mewtwo do nothing?
Sorry, I
And
can't.
he just waltzes out. And Murloc's in there too.
Easy now. You're gonna break my ribs.
Why would Mewtwo take them out of there and then he transfers Harry back into his body?
So glad you're okay.
Instead of being like, here, how about I transfer your consciousness back, like, right in the middle of everything falling apart. And then hopefully you survive this.
Yeah, that was me, you know.
Half you, maybe.
That's fair.
Come on. Everyone's waiting. Let's go home.
Yeah.
And look at the mayor there. He's getting out of this scot-free. Oh, maybe I should have done some shit there. Oh, well. That's where it ends. I don't know what to say. So anyway, new best Pokemon game. Yeah, maybe Deoxys just died. So the mayor gets away scot-free. I assume he was clearly just a victim as well. I assume that we book Murloc, whatever, for a long time. But, what even? I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. And whatever I'm feeling right now is not what I was expecting to be feeling at the end of this playthrough. My god. Like, the first Detective Pikachu game was like, okay, that was kind of okay. You know, it was pretty handholdy and stuff, you know, clearly intended for younger audiences. But, you know, it had its charm. It was kind of interesting and stuff. You know, it was an okay video game, I thought. This, I don't even know what the hell I just played. Yeah, the first one was pretty charming. This, I don't even know what to say. You know, Spellcase trained you of any semblance of tolerance you had for this game. Oh, man. I don't even know where to begin with this review. How about we start at something that was being discussed in the Discord server earlier today with Mortis and I about the FNAF movie. So I saw posted in the movies channel in the Discord that apparently there was like an IGN review of the FNAF movie that's coming out tomorrow. Well, technically today, it's after midnight. Where apparently the FNAF movie, it wasn't super true to like the original game. It's not just chilling in an office and flipping cameras and seeing the animatronics moving. And apparently the IGN reviewer was criticizing it for that. Like, man, it's not close enough to the original source material because it's not just that. And in response, I brought up a case of generally what you should do in like films based on video games. And this was something that I had pulled from one of my favorite film critique channels, being Filmento. On his critiques of various different video game-based movies, such as Uncharted and the Sonic movies, one of the things that he brings up is that you should always strive to have the film version be delivering something that you can't experience, like, in the game. You know, you can't just, like, he used the example of the auction house in Uncharted, in the scene of that in the movie and the games, making the argument that if you just look up the cutscene movie on YouTube, you can get a better experience than in the movie. So why, like, expect people to be paying their money to come and watch this in the movie theater when they can just look up a cutscene movie for free on YouTube and get a better experience? Like, you need to set it apart and do something new and unique. And with the Uncharted movie, the example of like the ship battle at the end was an example of doing something new and unique that is exclusive to the big screen that wasn't something that you'd be experiencing in the games. You know, so he was making the argument in those videos that it should have had like more of that. You know, still build off like the original source material and ideas and stuff like that, but be doing new stuff with it that delivers like a new experience that you can't just get by looking up a cutscene movie. And he makes the argument that that's why the Sonic movies were able to turn out as well as they did, because they took like the concept and characters and stuff like that, but used it to build like a new original story. And we'll even pull like familiar bits, like for example, in Sonic 2, the snowboarding scene where he's like escaping all those drones and stuff. There has been like snowboarding scenes in previous Sonic games, so there's clearly inspiration drawn from that, but the context is different. It's used in a new way that is exclusive to the film experience that you can't get in the games, and that's what helped like the Sonic movies stand out. And I'm thinking about it. I think you need 10 minutes, John Wildcat. Redeem time yourself out for 10 minutes. All right, enjoy the 10-minute time out there, Wildcat. This game made me think like the opposite is also true, though. So the first Detective Pikachu game came out, and, you know, that was the case about R. And then the movie came out, and the movie actually, just like the Sonic movies, did a really good job of taking these established ideas and doing something new with them. You know, it took its plot in a little bit of a different direction. It was still about R, but instead of R being used as a bioweapon, it was being used as a tool to fuse Pokemon and people, and there was like a villain with a different motivation there. And the structure of the story was changed around to better accommodate a film. And I genuinely liked the film quite a lot better than I did the game. And, you know, the game also ended on a cliffhanger and was meant to, you know, be resolved in a later game, being this one. And so I was worried about when the film was coming out, like, oh no, is it going to end on a cliffhanger? Nope, it resolved the plot. It did that. But now you're presented with the issue of, here's game 1, here's the film, and now you have game 2 on the way, and the film has wrapped up its plot line, but the games have not yet wrapped up their plot line. So now you have to wrap up the plot line of the games in a way that's different to the film. So just like with, say, the Sonic movies or, you know, Uncharted or whatever other video game movie, if you want it to be successful, you gotta set it apart from the original source material enough that it's delivering a unique experience. Just like the original Detective Pikachu movie did. You gotta change it from the source material enough that it's a new experience. Can't just have it be the same. But now that, you know, there was this game on the way that was going to be the final conclusion with the film wrap things up. And it was like, alright, well, the game's going to do something new and unique that's not just in the film, right? Nope. It was the fusing people with Pokemon plotline that was just what was done in the movie, only it's done better in the movie. So, instead of the reverse being true of like, oh, why go watch a movie when you could look up a cutscene movie, here it's the opposite. Why play this game or even watch a cutscene movie of this game when you could just go watch the movie? You know? I never thought that the reverse would be true, you know. But yeah, now Pikachu's just Pikachu there. Like, I never thought that it would be the other way around, because usually, you know, video game movies will typically be, you know, video game and then movie. But this was just such a weird niche case of game 1, that's half the story, movie, that's the full story, and then game 2, that's the second half of the story. You know, so whoops, there go, like, the cases of Mario Bros. Wonder and Metal Gear Solid there. So, this was a very weird case that I've never seen before in the industry, where, you know, they should have set it apart from the film more, but nope, they just did the film, but worse, you know? But yeah, Keiji Tang, Harry V, voiced Satoru Gojo. I don't know who that is, but I know that the person that voice acted Harry has voice acted a lot of things in a lot of games that I've played. So, yeah, even with just that part of the review, you know, I already see, like, no reason to be playing this game when you can go watch the movie and, in my opinion, get a better experience. Like, have a better plot than this mess that had some interesting things going for it, but then by the time that it got to the end, oh my god, the entire thing just fell apart. Holy crap, you know? So, yeah, there's the film comparison. What about other aspects here? Let's just talk about the story as an isolated experience. Yeah, make your own story, not 100% copy. Yeah, but, you know, considering... Hold on. The original game came out in what, like 2016 in Japan, and then like 2018 in the West? Hold on. Detective Pikachu 3DS release date. Yeah, so the game originally released on February 3rd, 2016. And then, you know, the Western version came out March 23rd, 2018, so 2 years later. But, you know, the original Detective Pikachu story came out February 3rd, 2016. Which leads one to believe that they would have started working on the next story shortly after this one. And then Detective Pikachu, the film, is released sometime in 2019, right? May 10th, 2019. So do you know what is possible? It is possible that they already started writing the plot for the second game, and then when they were writing the plot for the movie, they might have taken, like, plot elements of this game for the movie. Maybe. Like, maybe because they wanted to resolve everything within the movie, they were like, huh, we know generally what to expect for the plot of the second game. And so maybe they just decide to combine the plots of both games into the one movie. There's probably a good chance that that was the case, right? Maybe. Despite the fact that this game only released like less than a month ago, like a few weeks ago here, October 6th, 2023. It's currently the 27th, right after midnight. You know, so like 20 days ago. Because of the production timeline though, where it's like the first game released in 2016 and the movie in 2019, it is possible they had an idea of where the overall story was going to go and then just based the movie off of the overall story, you know? Like, they didn't have anything with the cubes in the movie, they just focused on R, and that helped it keep focused on just, like, the one thing. But it was interesting. They used, like, the main investigation thing of the first game, and then, like, the ultimate place where it leads of the second game. And the ultimate place where, you know, the investigation of the first game leads, and the general investigation of the second game are things that aren't touched in the movie. But I find that interesting that, you know, the general investigation thing R of the first game was the main plot of the movie, with it ultimately leading up to what the second game ultimately led up to. But, you know, did the cube or the bioweapon plot then really lead up to anything all that meaningful though? You know? But yeah. The control cube thing is in the movie in a very low capacity, it is? Just good lord, they had to ruin all the good ideas in the final case. Yeah, I thought like the most typical thing at that point would have been like have the mayor be like, you know, corrupted by this obsession with protecting his family. Like it shows the consequences of what was happening. Yeah, it showed the consequences of, you know, what happened in the first game by saying that there was actually someone that died from R. And it's like, oh, okay, R was a bit more serious than I thought that it was. If he lost his wife with it. So, you know, that perfectly set him up to be like, oh, like Pokemon are these out of control, dangerous beasts. They have to be controlled and stuff like that. And that's clearly what it was building him up to. Like, here's this evidence that, you know, he had his reservations about it. Like, oh, is it completely ethical? But no, to protect, like, my family that's left, to protect my daughter, I need to do it. And then he was just completely clueless at the end. Like, I don't understand it. What did he think would happen? And in the credits scene there, it showed that Murloc was in prison, but the mayor was completely scot-free. There was nothing wrong with him, except for being potentially the dumbest person ever in a Pokemon game. Oh my goodness. Jeez. I can't. So, in terms of overall story stuff, I think that this game suffered from a little bit of the problems of the first game, where some of the investigations barely had anything to do with the overall story. Like, they would typically just have like a tiny little piece of them has to do with the overall story, and therefore the individual investigation doesn't feel like as meaningful. Like the first real investigation of the game, so not the one about getting Pikachu's hat, but the first real investigation of the game, the one about like the Aurora gem. Like the Aurora gem ended up being like a big thing at the end of the day, since it was what had Deoxys, but the investigation itself was not at all important. In fact, we solve the mystery, and then, like, all our hard work is undone immediately after because Cramorant steals it anyway, and it's just like, well, okay, you'd love to see it. Like, that's how to tell the player that that was just filler. And in case it wasn't evident before, that was filler to, you know, make the game a little bit longer. Like, there's nothing wrong with having more content in your game. But if you want to make the player intrigued about the overarching story, have the whole investigation relate to the overarching story and the plot that you're telling in one way or another, instead of just like, it's a tale of what happened with these people that live in this mansion that we're literally never going to talk about ever again for the rest of this game. You know? You never see them again. Nothing that happens there matters, apart from just like Cramorant and Growlithe being like returning characters. That's it. You know? Two X-Maxinas, I don't know how to pronounce it though, but I know what you mean there. Happen in the same spot. Yeah, the hole in the ceiling there. Oh, that was really funny though. Oh man. But yeah, so I do wish that, you know, each of the investigations did have a little bit of something to, well, the second one had nothing. The second real one, the one in the ruins there. That one was just, you know, we came to the ruins to, you know, just asked this guy what he thought about the Aurora gem, or whatever the heck. And then we ended up getting trapped in the ruins and doing these puzzles to get out of there. And the only overarching story thing that investigation did at all was here's some Unitas people at the end, and the guy tells you like, I think it's a Pokemon, that gem, or whatever the heck he told us. That was it. Just to establish that Unitas is a group, and he says that gem's a Pokemon. We had to do like all this stuff in the ruins and outside the ruins that had nothing to do with the overarching plot. Like if these investigations had more to do with the overarching plot, it would have been a whole lot better. And then the stuff with Investigation 3. I guess it's technically Investigation 4 if we count the one with like Pikachu getting his hat, but I'm counting that as like tutorial, and then the investigation counts there. Investigation 3, the one where Pikachu's detained. Detainee Pikachu. That one was intriguing. Like, that one had, like, a clear connection to the overarching story. That one had good connections. But that one just dragged on and on. And you had to go around talking to everyone all the time. Just like, oh, here's this thing that we pieced together. Now this next thing we should piece together. Let's talk to everyone. Oh, that pieced together this thing that was obvious an hour ago. Now we should probably figure out this next thing that was obvious an hour ago. Let's go talk to everyone again. You know, it just... was not great. I thought it was intriguing how this game added in side quests during investigations and how they would have an effect on the newspaper. Like, that was a cool way to implement player agency. And it's kind of like in my Metroid Prime video essay that I published recently, where it's like the player agency over what you're doing is changing the game world around you, where it's like if you do those side quests, it affects the newspaper. You know, that was one of those little things that, as someone interested in game design, I thought that was a nice touch. The side quests themselves weren't exactly ever really that meaningful and never really added anything to the story. You know, they just felt like, huh, do I really have to do this? And they typically meant like nothing. The next investigation there. Hold on. Should I stay on Detaining Pikachu a little bit? There was a stuff with Brad there where it's like, why wasn't he questioning this earlier? Why was he just blindly following orders when he figured that, you know, that was not so great? And the stuff there with, what was his name? Like, Turner? No, Turner was the guy in the mansion. Whatever his face was, the big bad there that was just motivated by money and really didn't have any idea what was going on with Unitas and stuff, but it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this anyway. It's like, come on, really? Oh, that investigation reminded me that Detective Holiday, who was like one of those main kind of characters in the first game, he briefly appeared in like 2 investigations here. Like the third one there with the Detaining Pikachu and the one with the mansion. He served like no purpose. Maybe wonder why exactly he was in this game when he served like basically no purpose. And thinking about other characters that were in the first game, the Rhyme Detective Agency that had Mr. Baker and his, what, like receptionist, associate? I don't know what her role was. They weren't in this game at all. I don't think, unless I'm just blind. And it's like, what? I thought Tim was like part of that detective agency now. Maybe he's just like a freelance guy that's just out here doing stuff, detective work on the side for fun. Maybe he's just like Spider-Man where he has like his own life to get to, but he's just doing this on the side as best he can. I don't know. I don't get it. And another important character from the first game, what was her name? The reporter lady that was like the main lead supporting character, well, apart from Pikachu, I guess, in the movie. I forget what her name was. In the movie, she was the one with the Psyduck, and she didn't have a Pokemon in the first game. But she was like, you know, one of the main characters of the first game, and clearly designed to be like a Tim love interest kind of character. That is what with Pikachu teasing Tim about it all the time. But in this game, she exists on the TV. That's it. She's never seen physically. She's just gonzo. And it's basically just like in a cameo there on the TV when she's reporting on like news and stuff. And it's just like, why? And they brought in Rachel as like a new character here, I guess because they wanted the connections with the mayor. But then it's like, why wouldn't they just have had Rachel from the get-go? Or maybe Tim wasn't in college at the time. But just like have like another human supporting character with Tim there throughout both games, instead of being like, yeah, it's this character in this game, next game she's immediately forgotten about, it's someone else in this game. It's like, why? What? I don't get it. But yeah, legit think this is the worst story in the entire Pokemon franchise, literally due to ending alone. I don't think I'd go that far, but it was you have to suspend your disbelief so hard for that ending there. My goodness gracious. When it comes to the final investigation there, hold on. I'll just go through the investigation in order. The one with the bamboo forest there. For one, why the hell were we collecting pizza ingredients in the forest? Like, what? We collected like a couple mushrooms, 1 root, and something else. It's just like, ah, yes, that's our pizza supplies. We're good for the day. It's like, what? That's not how pizza works. Not that I care about the realism of that all that much. More asking just like the why we had to do that. I mean, I know the answer why. It's filler, you know? Just like, oh, you came here to chat with me about this one thing? How about we go collect pizza ingredients in the forest first, and then we can chat about this one thing. And that was also the case where I started to feel like the game was basically like an early 2000s children's point-and-click adventure game. Because it's like, oh, to get this thing, you need this other thing. Oh, go talk to this Pokemon and they give you this one thing. Now you can go to this other Pokemon and they trade you for this one thing. That's one of the things that you need. Now you go talk to this Pokemon and they give you one other thing that'll, like, there's all these trade quests and stuff like that. Well, there wasn't a massive ton of trade quests. There was a couple things there where they're not trade quests, that's not the right term, but, you know, just talk to people in a certain order and then it advances things, and it's like, this is literally like a children's point-and-click adventure game. Like, if this had came out as, like, a PC game in the early 2000s and I was playing as a kid, I probably would have loved it. I probably would have really been into it. Like, I played a lot of point-and-click adventure games back then, like the SpongeBob point-and-click adventure games. I was playing things like Pajama Sam, and probably some other things that, wow, that's a lot of dog hair after petting you. I probably would have really liked this, but, man, releasing something like this today that literally just feels like an early 2000s children's point-and-click adventure game for $65 on a console is like, I don't know about that, man. But yeah, now put some respect on those games. At least those were fun. They were good. Because reporter was just too old for him. I thought she was like the same age as him, basically. Clue Finders are peak point-and-click adventure games. I don't know if I ever played Clue Finders. Maybe I have and I'd recognize it if I saw it. I don't know. But I remember playing a whole bunch of stuff there. But yeah, the stuff with the bamboo forest there, I don't even remember what exactly happened there in terms of like the modern plot. I did think that it was intriguing how it started showing like some plot of the past with Harry, and it's like, hey, here's a familiar face with Keith with like the R incident and stuff like that when he was on that, and showing like the origin story of Harry and Pikachu meeting. That was neat, at least. But yeah, the present day there was not really all that much of stuff happening. And then the final case there, it was just like 4 hours, right? I've been streaming for 5 hours, so yeah, probably approximately 4 hours of just trekking through an almost completely empty building, just reading every little bit of evidence that we can from like every single little table across every single floor. And, you know, if we hadn't started talking about all sorts of stuff, like with the stream in chat, I genuinely feel like I would have passed out. When we got to about the 2-hour mark of the stream, I was genuinely debating about just saying, like, I can't. I gotta call off this stream. I need to pass out. And I was about to go to bed. You know, was the case. I just could not with it. Like, the sleep demons just started taking me over there. But, of course, once we started, like, you know, once there was some conversations started going, you know, that started engaging my brain a little bit more, and I was able to keep going. So, you know, thank goodness for that. But that almost did me in, that last thing. I wanted to do one investigation per stream. I almost couldn't handle that one. You know, it was not exactly great. And it was so random at some points. Like, oh, there's some gears missing, and that's why we can't open this door. There's a Pokemon stuck in this PC. Let's put some oil in it, and now Clink can slip out and now be the gears that, you know, turn in the door. You know, again, just really reinforcing that it is just an early 2000s point-and-click children adventures game. It doesn't have to make any sense. Just go inspect all the things and progress the one thing that lets you progress, and you'll make your way forward somehow, even if it doesn't make any sense. You know? Oh, man. Oh. But yeah, I think it all had to do with the plot was the stuff with Tim and Harry. It would have been pretty good if it was way, way, way shorter. That or the investigations just focused on the bigger picture plot, like, throughout, instead of having all the filler that did. 4 hours of random bullshit and some of the worst plot decisions you've seen. Just dragged on to drag on. Yeah, that's what it kind of felt like to extend the playtime. How long did this take me anyway? Yeah, so like a 15-hour game, I guess. You know, so it's not exactly a long game. It feels long, though, with how long it dragged on, though. My god. Oh boy, like you enjoyed this stream purely because everyone here was just roasting this game. Yeah, there was that. I think during one of my previous streams I streamed this, I had someone come into the stream that was singing the game's praises and was like, oh, I don't know why they don't port the, like, I don't know why this isn't, or, no, the port thing came later. They had said, like, I don't know why this game doesn't get more attention. And I said, yeah, I know, right? It's the same quality as the mainline Pokemon games. But I don't think they understood that that wasn't a good thing that I was saying. And it's as, you know, more comments started coming in, like, I don't know why they don't port the first game. And it's like, well, you know, it came out while the Switch was already out anyway. It'd be kind of silly for them to do that. That they started building more of a profile on me where it's like, oh, I don't want to be in this stream. And they dipped out. I never saw them again. But, there was that. But yeah, that final case. So we drilled a hole in the floor. So what were the two crazy things that happened there? There was the key card that fell. What was the other one again? I need to remember now. I know that there was the craziness with like the door a little bit in there where it's like, oh, here's the important passcodes like right through the window for reasons. And at the, oh, it was the paper that was on the floor. It was the important document that was on Pikachu's foot. We dropped down there and Pikachu was like, huh, what's this? Important orders? And at that same spot, when we come out, there's the Unitas guy that's like, what, Pokemon? Whoa! And then he drops the key card and then we get to progress. Oh, man. I can't. And then, like, all the fake sacrifices that happened from there that was just like, why? I guess maybe they just didn't want as many Pokemon around during that final sequence. Oh, maybe the fake sacrifices might have been so that they could get the cubes on them off camera. And then, you know, then it's like the big reveal of like, oh, they're back and now they've been cubed and this is what's gonna help Mr. Dudo do his evil plans. Even though he could have done those evil plans with literally any other cubed Pokemon, like the 50 million Beedrill that they had. I guess that just needed to be like more of a shock factor in the plot. That it's like, your friends are cubed. And not like, here's some generic Beedrill again that are cubed and doing this. But I mean, even if your friends were there with you and not cubed and they came with you from the get-go, they could have just had like a bunch of Beedrill fly and be like, ha, cube place, cube place, cube place. But, you know, I guess the format that they did was fine enough. It just kind of felt like, huh, was it really necessary? But I mean, any one of these other formats, you know, wouldn't necessarily have been like any better plot-wise. So I mean, it's fine that they did like the fake sacrifice plays there. The final one with Pikachu, that I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit here. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, stepped on the orders. There's little to explain in terms of Tim and Harry. All I needed to show was that Harry and Pikachu were the same person, have a touching scene between them. Which would mean the case, if it kept it to just that, it would have been really short, had no other story implications. Yeah, it would have been really cool to see, like, more of a dynamic between, like, Harry and Tim, like, after realizing that, you know, he was Harry and stuff, and seeing how they interact as father and stuff. But we didn't really see any of that. You know, I don't know, my friends who I don't care about. Yeah, there's that. Need an excuse for mind control? I guess so. Next can be Deoxys seeking revenge for being roped into this game. They better not make a third. I assume this is the end of the story now. You know, probably. But, one thing I want to say about the action sequences. I think probably my favorite part of the first Detective Pikachu game was all the QuickTime events that you could fail, and they designed, like, all these alternatives for things that would happen if you failed the QuickTime events, and they would always be, like, really goofy and, you know, give me a good laugh, because they were designed to be goofy. They were designed to be silly and be the kind of thing that most players wouldn't see, because most players would just be like succeeding the QuickTime events the first time, because they were really easy to do. But for players like me that wanted to purposefully fail them and see what happened, they would typically be like really funny and goofy, and I enjoyed them. You know, they were good. But in this game, if I recall, I think there was only 2 instances of it. I think there was a Pikachu falling off of the Alolan Executor with the hat and, you know, not quite being caught by Tim. Something or other there. It was a whole bunch of mashing ones and then a QuickTime event like right at the end, I think. And then there was the one with Golem, which you needed to fail 3 times. It was pretty goofy when you failed it, you know, Pikachu gets caught in there and gets sent out. That cracks me up a little bit. When I was cutting that strip into parts, I had to watch that a few times over just because it was so like unfathomable. Just how he's like 3 and he immediately stumbles and falls in. Like, I wanted more of that. But there was only the couple instances. Instead of QuickTime events, everything just changed to like mashing things. And if you just don't mash, it'll just loop infinitely. There was no fail conditions. Like, I wouldn't have this complaint if there was fail conditions to the mashing. Like, if you don't mash like fast enough, or, you know, if you just don't press the button for X amount of time, then there'll be this animation that plays with a fail condition for all sorts of goofy things. Like with the first Detective Pikachu game, if you failed a QuickTime event. But there just wasn't. You know, it just looped infinitely, like a beep 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 beep. That one was kind of goofy by not doing, but most of them were just like we're just here doing this forever. There was a goofy one in the first stream as well, where Pikachu's climbing up the Alolan Executor, and then he loses grip, and he's like, you know, there was that one. That one was kind of funny. You know, they probably weren't meant to be goofy, because they probably didn't assume that there was gonna be players like me that were failing these quick time events. And even with the Golem one, you know, I noticed when I was watching the VOD back, the first time you fail, Pikachu's stance barely changed. And I got really pissed off. I was like, what? You can't fail this? And then as I was saying that, like, another one failed. And then, after the second time, his stance changed. And then I was like, wait, did his stance change? I let the third time fail, and then there was, like, the goofy fail condition. I wish that there was more of those. They cracked me up in the first game. There wasn't as much of that in this one. And I just feel, like, really disappointed in that. How to talk about the, should I talk about the finale here? I feel like we basically did with this part anyway, with what happened there. Like, we've established that the mayor is so absolutely dumb. Like, what the heck did he expect? How is he in this scot-free? It clearly built him up to be someone that had, like, this noble goal of protecting his daughter, but went down a dark path. But then they had him not even go down a dark path. He was just stupid. There was that. Rachel as a character, she was an okay supporting character. I feel like she didn't really do much, though, apart from just having a connection to the mayor and, like, offering, you know, Tim some support and being like, oh, I like Pokemon too. Pokemon protected me once when I was in the forest. And I thought that meant for sure we were going to see that Ursaring during the next section, and we didn't even see the Ursaring. That didn't even come to play in a meaningful way in the plot. It was just like a fun fact so that she could reference that to her dad, being like, an Ursaring protected me in the forest this one time, so I love Pokemon, why don't you? You know, she just felt like a very weak character. I liked her design, though. You know, I thought her design was good. Well, as good as they got in this game, you know, with the weird faces and hair and stuff like that. But, you know, not talking about that, general design-wise, I thought was good. And as someone that wears, like, hiking boots as my regular shoes every day, I always have respect for anyone wearing, like, nice boots. You know, I do gotta say that. But yeah. Yeah, quite a bit of a mess there. Paw went flying out like it was Easter egg step and cause zombies. She weaker than the reporter from the movie? Honestly, I'd say the reporter from the movie was the strongest. And then second strongest might be... Who's stronger, Rachel or the reporter from the first game? I don't know. Neither of them are all that particularly strong. Part of me feels like they were honestly just included to be potential female love interests and a way for Harry / Pikachu to tease Tim about, like, oh, you gotta make a move? You know, like, it felt very much like that was their core purpose, and they didn't really get to be fleshed out that much as characters, and it just, you know, wasted potential and stuff, you know? Just like, hey, here's a means for Pikachu to tease Tim about, like, potential love interest stuff. Is that really all their characters are? You know, that's pretty weak. So, never really got behind them all that much as people, either one of them. I feel like Rachel was more memorable here just because, like, she was actively taking place in each of these investigations. The reporter lady would just kind of show up and be like a side character in some of them, not really be discussing things with Tim. You know, especially during the segment with Detainee Pikachu. Tim, instead of having Pikachu to bounce ideas off of, like, Rachel kind of became that stand-in, someone to bounce ideas off of. So I would say her presence is definitely stronger. So I would say reporter from the movie, then Rachel, then reporter from the first game, in terms of, like, strongest to weakest. You know. But yeah, they even made mentions to the movie being different in this game, but then did the same thing. Yeah. I kind of liked the way that it was going at first with it being, like, a government conspiracy, you know? That initial plot line, then the way that I thought it was going, where it's just like, hey, let's use R as an excuse here to control all the Pokemon. Or like, you know, we'll use these Pokemon that we're controlling with these cubes to convince people that Pokemon are dangerous, to give us the excuse to further put on these cubes to further our political agenda. That I thought was kind of cool, where it's just like, whoa, you know, here's a government conspiracy. And yeah, with the mayor having every reason to be evil. And then they didn't even do that. They threw all of that in the trash can at the end and instead just had the villain borrow the motivation of the villain from the movie. It's like, what? Why couldn't it have been a government conspiracy? And then it would have been something different from the movie, and it would have been something new and unique. And it was building up to that, and then they just threw it all out. I don't get it. Like, that would have made for an interesting plot line. Like, you know, here's the mayor that, you know, has every reason to feel like, yes, let's go down this dark path and do this to protect my family. And, you know, maybe the big bad figurehead of, you know, the scientist there, Murdoch, maybe his big goal was just to be able to control all the Pokemon. You know, maybe he was like Getsus in Pokemon Black and White. And, you know, it was a smart plan with the cubes if that's what he was going for. Like, we saw that scene with, like, the Beedrill attacking the heroes, and then people going like, whoa, Pokemon are too dangerous. They need to be controlled. And then the immediate next investigation was all about that. Like, look at all these harmful things that Pokemon are doing. They need to be controlled. That seemed to be like deliberate acts to persuade people into supporting this bill and wanting these cubes to be placed on Pokemon to stop these dangerous things that are happening around them from happening. So, like, the government is literally causing a problem to convince people that they need the government solution so that they get, like, the means to be able to roll that out. It would have made sense. It would have all added up. And then they didn't even do that. So it was like, wait, what's the point then? Like, what was the point of having that scene with the Beedrill and the people coming out and being like, Pokemon are too dangerous, they need to be controlled, if that's not even the way the plot was going? What was the point? And, like, the whole plot of the third one there, the stuff with the Tandy Pikachu, technically fourth investigation, I thought for sure that was building up to that. Because it's like, hey, look at all these acts that are happening around the city that are clearly framing Pokemon for crimes that they didn't do, that I assume is meant to convince people that Pokemon are dangerous so they'll support this bill and support the government's moves to, you know, roll out these control devices all over the place. Nope. They were framing Pokemon so that they could detain them without people being too suspicious so that they could ship them off for, you know, experiments for, you know, these cubes, which was really just a cover story so that Mr. Guy could really get Pikachu. That's the only Pokemon that he really wanted, so that he could fuse with Deoxys. They had the makings of what could have actually been a genuinely interesting Pokemon government conspiracy plot. And they threw it out. They were building up to it, and they just did away with it. I would have much preferred the story of this game if it was a government conspiracy plot that built off of that. Like, it clearly seemed like it was going to. Like, hey, at least it surprised me then. You know, I will give it that. At least it surprised me. Like, it wasn't as predictable as I thought that it would be. But what panned out was just so much worse than what I predicted. You know? I don't get it, man. Yeah, what? My cubes that are meant to control Pokemon? You don't say! And, like, they could have brought Harry's body into the conspiracy plot as well. They even explain how a person died to imply the wish for control. Yeah, they could have, like, presented Harry's body being like, look, like, if you scan his brain, like, he's asleep. He's the sleeping man that was with Mewtwo. And they could have framed Mewtwo as a villain. Whoa, imagine if they did that. So they recovered Harry's body from Mewtwo's cave, and he was in a state where he was, like, asleep, but his brainwaves were being weird because, you know, his consciousness wasn't there. They could have absolutely used that. Like, what if they did, like, a whole news broadcast thing, or Bob, and, like, public service announcement here, like, hey, look, we recovered this man's body from Mewtwo's cave, and he doesn't even have a consciousness anymore. Isn't that awful? Aren't these Pokemon, like, so dangerous? Mewtwo literally stole a man's consciousness. We need to control all these Pokemon. It could have played into it perfectly. They could have absolutely used Mewtwo as a scapegoat and an example for, like, how dangerous Pokemon can be by stealing a consciousness from a man. But no. This makes me want to do a rewrite. You know how I did a rewrite of, you know, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet story for a video essay? This makes me want to do a Detective Pikachu Returns rewrite, because my god. And that's absolutely the way that I would take it. Like, turn Mewtwo into a scapegoat to further things along, make Harry look like some victim, and the Pokemon are way too dangerous, like mass hysteria that they want to preach, so that they could turn it into a, you know, government conspiracy. Hell yeah, rewrite. But yeah, like Rachel's mom literally died for nothing plot-wise. Yeah, well, it was building up like, you know, it was supposed to be the reason why he was supporting that, but then he didn't even know the reason why he was supporting it, because he didn't even know what it did. And it doesn't make any sense. Also, you easily predicted the Deoxys' fusion, and if that went in tandem with the conspiracy, it would have turned out better. How would it go in tandem with the conspiracy? Like, if I did a rewrite kind of thing, how would it go together, I wonder? I have to give it some think. I have to give it some think. I'd have to give it some thought. It might be able to work, but, like, I'd have to get, like, really creative. But, you know, I feel like I'm already giving it more thought than the writers of this gave it. Oh, man. This could have been so cool as a government conspiracy. Mom died and it meant nothing. Yeah, they said in things that it meant something, and then they revealed at the end that it actually meant nothing. No thought, just think. Yeah, just give it a big think there. Yeah, One thing that I will say is the mainline Pokemon games, their plots are typically really, really typical and, you know, predictable and, like, meh. Like, Scarlet and Violet, I do respect how it tried to do, like, some new things, but it was still, like, pretty predictable at the end of the day, and, you know, I feel like it didn't leave that much of an emotional impact, and that's why I did, like, the story rewrite that I did within that video essay, because I felt like, you know, it had some interesting ideas going for it, but it really didn't do anything with them, and then just, you know, told things in a very nonsensical way where things don't add up, and it, you know, has hollow sacrifices, and it's like, you're really gonna try to redeem the professor after that, and in this way, it does not make any sense. It was just really awful there. Point is, mainline Pokemon plots, they're oftentimes, like, not great. I say oftentimes, but, you know, most of the time. I feel like the one mainline Pokemon plot that I actually really liked was Pokemon Black and White, just because of, like, the character development of N. You know, I feel like, you know, you as a silent protagonist are, like, one of the main characters, but you're not the main character. I would argue that in Pokemon Black and White, N is the main character, while you're the lead supporting character in this story playing out. And I think that's fascinating. I like Black and White. I don't know if there's any other Pokemon plots that I love Pokemon lore. You know, Pokemon lore always goes super crazy. I don't know how much crazy it goes in modern games, but I know back when, you know, it used to go super hard and stuff. You know, it create a whole lot of intrigue and stuff. But point is, mainline Pokemon games, there are a lot of rinse and repeat. They don't really do a whole lot different. I will say, I do like to see when Pokemon is rolling out different kinds of games that are telling stories that we don't see in Pokemon otherwise. You know, so I do respect them going out there and trying something new across this whole Detective Pikachu IP, like both these games and the movie. Telling a kind of story that we haven't seen before in the mainline games. Because Pokemon, like, it's a very fascinating world, and it has so much storytelling potential, but it's just not really explored with that storytelling potential a whole lot. So I do like it when they do take the time to explore some different types of stories that we haven't seen in these worlds. This just wasn't very well handled, though, you know? Your idea for the fusion working in tandem with the conspiracy is that Murloc, while studying Harry, discovers the link with Pikachu, brings it to Howard, and they both agree to research it. Like, make the two villain partners, like, actual partners. Okay, but are they still gonna, is Murloc still gonna fuse into Deoxys in some way? And for one, actually have Deoxys use, like, the crazy tentacles and stuff and, you know, do form changes and all that. Like, another game that came out recently was Spider-Man 2. And, you know, I don't own a PlayStation 5, so I didn't pick it up. And my game schedule's too crazy around here to warrant doing that. If I owned a PlayStation, I would have picked it up, but, you know, my game schedule's too crazy, so I didn't do it. But I watched a cutscene movie of it. And the main antagonist of Spider-Man 2 is Venom. And the animations with Venom and, like, the crazy Venom, like, symbiote tentacles and stuff like that, were friggin' amazing. Like the crazy web stuff that they were doing with that, and you know, these tentacle lines and the animations there. When I saw him fuse into Deoxys, I was like, whoa, is he gonna do something like that with Deoxys' tentacles? Nope. Immediately goes into hands, and then never does anything interesting with that ever again. You want to see like some cool modern gaming industry use of like super crazy tentacle animations? Watch the cutscenes of Spider-Man 2. Like, that was cool. That was some pretty cool eye candy there. But, you know, they didn't even try here. They had Deoxys in its normal form, switched to hands, never used the tentacles again. Never used them at all, really. Just showed that they were there, switched to hands, and then never used them. And then never even used any of Deoxys' other forms. Why did they choose Deoxys if you're not gonna do anything cool with it? You know? Like, I guess so that they can have something be stolen that turns out to be a Pokemon, and it turns out it's Deoxys to have something bigger picture there, I guess is the reason. But, like, Deoxys is a kind of cool Pokemon. They should have done cool things with Deoxys, but no. No! Well, I didn't do that. But yeah, don't know if they would actually do that, but you have to, like, have the research go far enough so Harry could go back into his own body. But wouldn't they want that not to happen so they can keep on using Mewtwo as a scapegoat? They couldn't keep on doing that if the victim was no longer a victim, right? If Spider-Man 2 was so good. Also, the fact the King in Black imagery they used in Spider-Man 2 is insane. Wait, the King in Black imagery that they used in Spider-Man 2. You might have to explain this to me at some point because I'm not entirely certain here. King in Black is one of the best Venom stories. Okay, so that was just the name of a story. At first when you said King in Black, I was like, was there chessboards in the story that I just didn't see and there was like a whole bunch of symbolism on the chessboards or something? No, I got you now. But yeah, that was how to do it right. You know, Deoxys here was really lame. We've talked plenty now about the, you know, the final encounter there. And, you know, the fusion with Deoxys and the mayor being really, really dumb. Basically, symbiotes like the entire species and their god invades. Oh, like, yeah, with the whole pandemic spreading everywhere plotline. Yeah, I got you now. But anyway, that ending there. We've talked about the mayor being dumb and, like, that initial encounter. Let's talk a little bit now about how it actually ended. So, the elevator's going up. Midgar is burning all around Pikachu and, you know, Harry's body, presumably. And I'm honestly surprised that the machine, when Deoxys was woken up, did not send Harry's consciousness back into his body. Like, he remained as Pikachu there. Which means that the only person that could have switched them back was Mewtwo. Like, as far as I'm aware, like, Murloc went back to his body by, like, the energies. So, like, maybe that happened with Pikachu as well. Okay. Maybe it wasn't Mewtwo then. Because it was explained that these energy things that were extracted from Harry and Pikachu were used to separate Murloc and Deoxys. So, I guess presumably, Pikachu reverted to Harry shortly after then? Because of that, and Mewtwo had nothing to do with it. Mewtwo just sat and watched and, like, did nothing. But anyway, there's this fake-out death where Harry's like, I'm too weak, go on without me. Get out of here. As, you know, everything's burning around him, and, you know, Tim and all his friends go up, and he's like, no, Dad! And then, what presumably happens off-camera is that Harry's consciousness goes back to his body, either because of those energies or because of Mewtwo, I guess because of those energies or whatever plot BS that was. He's in the pod, he steps out of the pod, he somehow climbs up the rafters there, even though the whole way that he got up there as Pikachu in the first place was from the elevator that's no longer there. So I don't know if Harry just pulled out like his Spider-Man powers and started climbing up there, grabbed Pikachu, came down, threw Pikachu into the pod, grabbed Murloc as well, threw him into the pod too, sealed it up, and pulled a freaking Indiana Jones refrigerator nuke strat and got launched perfectly out and was in perfectly fine condition when he landed. Like, no broken bones or anything like that, no injuries, he's perfectly fine. He just steps out like, yeah, everything's just fine. All while Mewtwo just kind of watched like, what the hell did I just see? Should I have helped there? Nah, that's not important. It's just the amount of hoops that you need to jump through to make that work when you could have literally just had Mewtwo saved him. And then, like, Mewtwo saved Harry and Pikachu there, and Murloc, you know, as, you know, when Mewtwo was carrying Harry's body earlier in the game, it was surrounded by, like, this weird force field-like thing. That's clearly a thing that Mewtwo can do. So just do that, put this weird force field thing around them, fly away with them as you did with Harry's body once before, and you've established is possible. And then have Harry's consciousness still be in Pikachu's body, while, you know, Harry's body doesn't have, you know, any life in it there, really. And then you can have a touching moment with, like, Tim there and Mewtwo, and, you know, Mewtwo talking to Pikachu saying, like, are you ready? Like, to go back to your body, and Harry being like, yeah, I'm ready. And then, like, the process happens, and then, you know, then it could be, like, a heartfelt moment, and Tim could be like, oh, Dad, you're back in your body there. But nope, they, yeah, let's see here. Probably wasn't. That's why Mewtwo was looking down at them at the end. I mean, Mewtwo probably put them all in the pod. Yeah, maybe it was Mewtwo, and then maybe Mewtwo, like, did the whole consciousness swapping thing. But then you'd think that Mewtwo would have been the one that, like, telepathically put down the pod. Not just let it, you know, impact the ground at full speed, and then Harry somehow steps out without any injuries. It really is a lot of plot conveniences for something that a simple solution would have avoided all. Yeah, both with, like, the ending with, you know, Pikachu and Harry, and even just, like, what the ultimate big bad led up to. Maybe you just threw all three of them in one pod and kicked it up, and, yeah, maybe it wasn't an explosion. Mewtwo just launched them up and is like, hope you land okay and don't break any bones. But yeah. Yeah, that part was dumb. Also, Murloc is there just sort of not dead. Yeah, we saw in the credits there that he went into a jail cell, so, you know, his consciousness went back into, his body. I guess maybe Deoxys is just dead now, who knows? It went back to being a rock. Is someone gonna go and find that from the rubble and donate it to, like, the Rhyme Museum or whatever after all? I don't know. Just presume that's gonna be stuck under the rubble, like, forever. Oh, man. Yeah, so these were all the cases. So, prologue, the missing jewel, the fabled aurora, the tiny Pikachu, memories of the bamboo forest, a plan that transcends time. So, you know, 6 cases total, but really, you know, 1 tutorial here and then 5 real cases. Truly one of the games of all time. It really was, wasn't it? It's 1:30 in the morning. I think I'm done streaming for tonight. I'm just debating in my head if I preferred the plot of this game or the plot of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Is what I'm debating. Oh, what? Hold on. I'll wrap up the stream here shortly, but there are some things that I haven't talked about in my review yet. The music. The music was good, generally. There were some that just kind of fit what they had to. There was no real... Okay, there was a couple themes that I thought were bad and weren't fitting for what they were, but just a couple instances. Okay. Yeah, maybe Scarlet and Violet is better. I'm not sure here. Maybe. The reason why I like this one so much is just because of, like, the potential that it had, but I do have to acknowledge that potential doesn't mean, like, how good it was. And, you know, let's not fall into the same fallacy that so many have with the plot of Scarlet and Violet. Just be like, oh, because it had the potential to be good, it's still good. It's just, I really wanted that government conspiracy story so bad. Anyway, the music was actually pretty good at some points. Like, I really liked the use of this main leitmotif. Like, the main leitmotif of the first Detective Pikachu game was never really used outside of the title screen. It was a theme that was like the do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. It was the title screen theme of that game. And I never really had any of the music of the first game stand out to me, like, ever. This game had some themes that stood out. This game had some good themes. Like, this is a good title screen theme. I did like the remix of it at the end for that final encounter. Like, I do love it when a main leitmotif is reused in a final encounter. I thought that was good. My favorite theme might be the Luxray riding theme. Let's see here. I posted in the music channel in the Discord server. But it's this one. It's a bit of a bop. It's a little bit of an electronic-y kind of tune. And, you know, I've had some... that was something that I criticized in Penny's theme in Scarlet and Violet, where I was like, it's too electronic-y. Like, I wish that there were some real instruments here. I just felt like the elements weren't distinct enough. And I've got a lot of comments saying, like, you just don't like other styles of music. That's all it is. You know, you, that's all that's going on here. You just clearly don't like electronic. There's nothing wrong with the theme. If you actually knew this style of music, you'd think that it's a masterpiece, you know? Yeah, we just beat the game there. But this I like. Also, how's it going tonight, Carvia? Like, I feel like the elements are distinct enough. And one of the things that I like about this theme is there's this tune here that, you know, exists as like its own individual thing. There's only a little bit of a beat in the background, but you get to focus on this tune. And, you know, it goes on for a little while. And then as it goes on, it turns into another tune. This tune here. And then this tune, like, gets its own attention here. And it's like, okay, I'm down with this. And then, once it gets to a certain point, it combines both those tunes. So let's skip ahead. Like, where does it drop? Here. It combines both of them together. Isn't that cool? I like that. So I think this might be my favorite theme in the game. But that final battle theme was pretty cool, too. Like, and how it used the title theme. And then it repeats, so here it is at, like, the beginning again. But I like that. And, like, where it drops there and combines the two tunes is so good. But yeah, let's see here. Like the title screen music of the original game, to be honest, if you remember right. I thought that the title screen theme wasn't too half bad, but it wasn't really used anywhere else. I don't think. Unless I'm going crazy, I just didn't pay enough attention. Thought you were about to play Jellyfish Jam? I'm doing pretty alright. I'm glad that this game is through now and I don't have to play it anymore. Carvey will not believe how bad the ending of this game is. It's one of the games of all time. Be happy you missed the end. But isn't this a bop? Oh, man. Whatever you expected, you're wrong. It's actual worse. So, Chuck, you're gonna have to watch a VOD? Yeah, you should. It's, I'd be curious to hear what you think afterwards. Oh, man. We all, several of us went on rants here. Like, this little review that I've been giving at the end has been going on for a little while. Anyway, that was the music. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the art style. I don't know what game looks worse visually. This game or Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, you know, as we mentioned earlier this stream, it very much is like that scene from Kung Fu Panda where it's like, finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. But it's so weird because, you know, the mainline games are rushed out for their release schedule. But this should have had like 6 years in development or whatever it was. So, I don't know why the game came out looking the way that it does. At least there wasn't like any real performance issues. Like, I don't think I really encountered much in the way of like bugs or glitches like at all in this game. Like, this ran perfectly stably. There was nothing like that. But, you know, the shading and lighting was so off and made the whole game look like an early alpha. Everyone's hair looked like plastic, like it was stuck on a Lego figure or something like that. And looked like, just like a Lego figure. You could take it off one person's head, switcheroo, and put it on another. All the non-important characters, like all the generic NPCs, were clearly just made in like not some NPC maker, just like some character maker thing. Because, you know, you can start identifying like, oh, here's all the same face types, here's all the same like eye types and stuff like that. And they're just like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and even Pokemon Legends Arceus. There would be cases where you see people like right next to one another, where it's like they look exactly the same except for like 1 or 2 small details, like skin color's different or maybe their clothes are different, but otherwise look the exact same. And it's like, really? So I didn't quite get that. Go back to listening to this theme. And like the animations were just so not great. The lip syncing was constantly off. I don't know if it was made for like Japanese or something like that, but you know, as we discussed during one of the first streams, I think it was during stream 2 or maybe it was stream 3 while we were in that when we were doing the stuff with the mansion plotline there. I noticed how in the part where we're choosing like all the right options and getting ready to point the finger, how it was still just generic animation presets. Like in the 3DS game, those scenes were always like handcrafted animations where it's like the characters are truly reacting to what's going on. Like Tim would be like, it was you, performer guy, Max, that has the chat taught and stuff. It was you. It could have only been you. And Max would be like, what? No way. It couldn't possibly be me. You know, there's just no way. Whereas, you know, confronting people there, you know, the head of the estate would be like, what? Is this true? There's surely no way. It was so robotic. Or, you know, with Detective Holiday there, like that one shot where it zoomed in on his face where it was like, what? How can this be? It was so robotic and jarring. Or like another one that stood out to me was when Rachel was to Murloc outside of the cafe or whatever the heck, was like, how dare you talk about my dad like that? Or no, you should mind your own business. But the animation was just like, as she says, and I think you should mind your own business. And it's like, huh? What? It was very, very odd. So, you know, the actual handcrafted cutscenes were pretty alright. I think my favorite cutscene in the entire game was that one with the Beedrills. And like Harry's body and stuff like that. Like there was this really cool camera shot where the Beedrills are going to attack, and it does like this arc across as the camera zooms into a Beedrill, and then it zooms out again as it shows a swarm getting ready to attack. That was an actual cool camera shot. It felt like cutscenes like that were designed by a completely different team. You know, those ones were good. But there weren't a whole lot of these handcrafted scenes. They made so many handcrafted cutscenes for the first game, and there was just so few of them in this game. It was these lifeless, dead fish-eyed, like, generic animation presets for so much of the game, and they look so lifeless and expressionless. Like, even during that encounter with Rachel and her father at the end, that's supposed to be, like, a big emotional thing, showing him the error of his ways. And she's supposed to be getting, like, upset about how he's gone down this dark path, and she's just smiling at him the whole time. With, like, the default character expression. It just completely takes you out of the moment. So, like, the art style and, you know, many of the cutscenes were just so not good. Yeah, like, that's the way that felt. I think the only things that weren't handcrafted in the first game were just, like, as you're investigating, you're going and chatting to people, which, like, is to be expected. Things that aren't really cutscenes. Just like, here's some dialogue as you're chatting and like getting some information. Like these generic presets that were being used during the more serious cutscenes of this game is what would only be used during like gameplay segments of the first game. Otherwise, it was all the handcrafted stuff that made the characters actually feel like real living beings, as opposed to, you know, lines of script that you read into an AI agent that runs through its presets that it has and then animates them accordingly. Like, that looks like something that would have been thrown together in one of my junior high school programming classes, where you literally take a script, say who's saying what in what order, and then tell the machine, like, what animation should be playing during each of these, and then it gets animated. That was literally something that I was programming into in junior high school. Okay, now have I covered everything? Maybe. Expect him to be redeemed, but not in that fucking way. Like, it was just really dumb. Like, that was the actual worst way to pull a redemption. Literally, yeah, I already read that. How dare you be evil father? Smiley face. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see here. Was this on slow? Interesting. I've put this on. This is weird. How the run button is off by default. You have to go into settings and turn on the run button with ZR. I guess that's another small complaint of mine with gameplay. Is sometimes I would be holding ZR to like run super speed and I would go into a cutscene trigger, but one of the cutscenes that just starts putting the text like right at the bottom, like there's no fade through black or anything like that. And ZR is also the hold down to fast forward text button. So I'd be running some way, holding down the run button, immediately go into a scene, and then I like fast forward through like 3 lines of dialogue without even realizing it before I like take my finger off the trigger, like, oh god, you know, like I was just trying to run this way. I wasn't trying to fast forward through dialogue, you know. So that was there was that. There's English and Japanese there. Story jump mode is kind of nice if you want to jump to anywhere in the story. That's cool. The, oh, there's different save slots for story jump mode. Weird. This format for laying out your save date is kind of weird. How dare you be evil? That's more accurate. Gotta nail it just right. Okay, am I done with my review now? Is that it? So, I talked about the music, talked about the story, the gameplay, and, the art style and stuff. Guess I can talk briefly about the voice acting. Voice actor for, like, Harry, Pikachu there, you know, spot on. He does a fantastic job. Tim was pretty good most of the time. Everyone else was very hit or miss, I felt like. You know, Rachel was pretty alright too. But, you know, so much of the voice acting in this game was very hit or miss. Which was really jarring when I've heard some of these voice actors in other games. And I've heard them give, like, really great performances. Like with Holiday, for example. Like, I've heard his voice actor in several other games. And I know that he's a good voice actor. But he just sounded very off in this. Which implies that there might have been, like, bad direction. Or they might not have taken all that much of takes. I don't know. It was odd. Yeah, there were some lines that weren't super great there. Which become even worse with, like, the animations that were used. Okay, am I done with my review now? Relic is voiced by the YouTube Young, yeah? I don't know what that, who that is, / what that means? He's a great voice actor, by the way. Interesting. He, there were definitely some parts there where he was doing a good job. Like, when we were listening in on the recordings, like the third one where he was starting to get, like, really, you know, crazy and stuff. You know, that performance was good. And then the stuff, like, towards the end and in the finale there was generally pretty good. But just the normal speaking voice, like, I just could not get behind there. Like, is also the only game journalist you trust. I know you'll never be done with this game. But, like, when we were listening to those audio recordings and it's like, here's 3, the third one I thought was really good. But the second ones of, like, generic speaking, I didn't think were all that great. It felt, like, very lifeless and boring. But, you know, again, there's other voice actors in this game that I know are, like, really good voice actors. So maybe it was just, like, bad direction and not using all that great of takes, you know? I don't know what exactly went on with it. Wake up and notice you still have 5 cases left. Oh god, please no. I will pass on that, thank you. Oh boy. But yeah, I think I'm done now. I think that's my review. I think we've covered everything. But yeah, it does make me wonder, how much of an impact does Creatures have on the mainline Pokemon games? And if Creatures games are looking like this, are they a bigger factor than we thought in the mainline Pokemon games looking the way they do? DLC will release next week. I sure hope not. Hey Carvey, are you still listening? You want to play some Smash? Take the mind off of this. Oh man. Yeah, that was oh gosh, yes. Alright, let's switch over. Alright, I'm done with Detective Pikachu Returns. We'll do a little bit of that for funsies now. Let me go switch my controller over. So yeah, thanks to everyone who, whoops, and I immediately reconnect my same controller. I'm dumb. Thanks everyone who stopped by and hung out for Detective Pikachu Returns. I need to take my mind the hell off this. I'm done. No more. Let's do something completely different. And now for something completely different. But yeah, let's see here. Smash gameplay. Yeah, the kind of thing that I don't stream a whole lot of anymore, but I still sometimes play with Carvey on the side here and there. But yeah, can't sleep after this. But Morris, you're going to bed. Alright, appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Hope you have an awesome rest of the night, and hopefully being lost in thought about how this plot turned out the way that did doesn't keep you up too long. Because I feel like it's probably going to keep me up. Oh, you're falling asleep just an hour ago or so? No, I've been streaming for close to 6 hours now. It was about the 2-hour mark that I was starting to get, like, really, really tired. Like, I was barely able to stay awake just because of how boring it was. But then once, like, conversations started happening, it started engaging me some more. And, you know, I was able to wake up from that. And now, like, my brain just needs to unwind and take the mind off things. And, yeah. Now my brain is just, like, really riled up, and I need to, like, take out my frustrations in how that game turned out, you know? And maybe that's what Smash will be. If I'm booting in, you may as well host here. is what you may as well do. Where's my Smash cartridge? Yeah, now I need to take out the frustrations of that. My god. You know, because again, I thought that the story of the first Detective Pikachu game was kind of alrighty. It was intriguing. And I was hoping that even if this game looked the way that it did, that it would hopefully still have, like, maybe a good, intriguing plot and do, like, some cool things that I haven't seen before in Pokemon. And then it turned out to be that. And now, my disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined. Been here for 4 hours? Yeah, time flies when we're playing Detective Pikachu Returns, huh? There's my audio. Alright. Play some Smash. Larry kind of sums up how I feel right now.